Good evening, great people of the internet. My name is Alexander Gordon Johans, and so this is Gender Tag. Literally never done any of these tag videos before, and I'm only doing it now because I watched Dodger's video and I was like, crap, it's 8 PM and I haven't really uploaded a video yet, apart from one on my Facebook page where I said I'm God because some right-wingers were being stupid on my Facebook page. So I kind of felt like I should do a video, and this video kind of makes sense for me to do, given kind of stuff that's been happening to me lately. It's kind of like it's a good reason to kind of clarify things on this issue, because there are people who do get confused, and it is kind of a thing that's kind of happening. So yeah, I guess it's appropriate to kind of do this stuff. I don't know what the etiquette is, so I apologise if I go about this whole tag video thing the wrong way. I should stress that I've only watched Dodger's video because it's 8:30 and I'd kind of like to listen to the podquisition after I've done this. So yeah, I'm not the most well researched of things, but since I'm going to be talking about myself, I figured I should be okay. So yeah, at the beginning, like, Dodger did a sort of explainer saying, hey, don't use her story as an explainer of anybody else. Well, I suppose the thing is, with my situation, it's a little different. So kind of my situation is different. So as far as I'm concerned, like, you know, obviously, don't you should never stereotype someone. You should never go, oh well, they're just this. You should never just label someone. But because of the situation that I'm kind of gonna describe, I actually kind of would advocate talking to people about things. So yeah, anyway, away we go with the questions that I will answer. So yeah. So 1. How do you self-identify your gender, and what does that definition mean to you? So I'm a man, and for me that definition kind of being someone who is a feminist, you know, and a nerd. It means bad things. It means bad things. You know, especially as I'm a writer, a sci-fi writer. Like, I mean, when I was growing up, kind of, you know, that there were, you know, there was a distinction between, you know, the masculinity of sports and, you know, and being a nerd and sort of hiding inside and playing video games or reading comics or, you know, reading books, or, you know, basically there was a difference between being a man who is out there and, you know, doing stuff, and being a man who is inside and either creating media or enjoying media. And so for me, I kind of, you know, felt like I was taking the more effeminate route to life by being the guy who's hiding inside, reading stuff and writing stuff. But, you know, being savvy about the world now, it's like, oh well, I'm a nerd. That means effectively the way the tables have turned is that all the nerdy people got in charge, and now the world is run by nerds, and the nerds are on top of the world, and it turns out we're just as fucking sexist as the masculine jocks were, except possibly more so, because the masculine jocks actually, you know, because they were cool and hunky and hung out with people, they, you know, stopped being dickheads after a while, whereas the nerds of society, the male nerds of society, kind of still have very much a male power fantasy kind of idea when we create our media and when we read our media. So therefore there's still kind of a deep-rooted level of sexism and sexualization of women, and essentially, as a feminist, it kind of it feels like, you know, being a member of the, like, being like in charge of an empire colony, you know, that like in like the eras like after the Second World War, you know, like it feels like, you know, you're still privileged, you're still very much in charge, but like you're looking around at the rest of the world going, this isn't good, is it? This isn't good. Yeah, this isn't good. Eventually, things are gonna change. Where I'm sitting, it's not gonna be so good anymore. I suppose that's kind of the wider socio-historical context of being a man. But I suppose, as to what it means as kind of me, as kind of, you know, what is the meaning of life sort of thing, like, what does it mean to me as a person to be a man? I suppose fundamentally it means being a disposable asset. I mean, granted, I've got kind of other reasons for feeling that way at the moment, but I suppose kind of, you know, you think about hunter-gatherers and stuff, like, you think of it from a kind of, and I know this is the wrong way to go about things with them feminists, but, you know, I suppose this, if we're talking about how I feel to be as a man, like, from a sort of Darwinian evolution point of view, like, the women are how you continue society. You know, men are essentially just there to rejig the genes and to help building up the place. You know, we are the people that can be sent off to war and can, you know, be made to build the barricades and shit. Like, we don't matter. And maybe this is kind of part of the feeling that, you know, hey, I'm in charge, but look at all those people down there. They appear to be trying to scale the walls. What are we going to be doing about this? Oh, we're not going to do anything about this. Oh, this is a good thing. Oh, okay. Okay. So that's kind of, yeah. There is just kind of like a feeling of, you know, kind of unearned strength, you know, like, I mean, I pretty much spent my childhood hiding away, running away, and then it's like, you know, I'm now 23, and it's like, holy shit, I'm 6 foot, and I'm strong, and how did this happen? So, yeah, for me, it's like, being a man is all, it's unearned privilege, and a feeling of, a feeling that, you know, that privilege is going to be taken away, and it's probably a good thing, but at the same time, I suppose there is a feeling of power to be gotten from the culture that privilege has created. And it really is this thing of like, I don't think about it because essentially, if you look at the history books, if you look at the culture, for so many years, if you asked what it means to be human, you're asking what it means to be a man, because nobody gave a shit about what women thought, or at least if they did, that doesn't go into the history books. That doesn't get written down, and it certainly doesn't get passed along and taught. So I suppose there is kind of a feeling that I'm the default. That I am human. I suppose. Yeah, I'm human. Yeah, I'm human. What pronouns honor you? He, him, his. And describe the style of clothing you most often wear. Well, okay. I kind of vary. Well, no. Funnily enough, clothing is the one area where there really is a binary in my life. Aside from, obviously, being a techno hermit and loving computers, and, like, seriously, I don't want to go to, this idea of, the Green Party utopia where we all revert to, like, hobbit holes and we all grow crops and stuff. Like, no, I love my computers, but that's me getting off the point, because talking about clothes for me feels kind of unmanly, which is stupid, but it does. So I suppose kind of there's two ways that I can consider dressing. Okay, there is the style of clothing that I'm wearing now, which is utter comfort with, a splash of, nerd peacocking. Okay. Which is that, at the moment, I've got socks that are just fucking comfortable. I've got trousers that are just fucking comfortable. I can wear these wherever, feel comfortable wherever. Slight downside is no pockets. And then I have the t-shirt, which is kind of comfortable, in the sense that, it's baggy, it's formless. I don't have to worry about tit showing, which is something we're going to get to. And also, right, I suppose I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, this is me nerd peacocking. This is me sort of painting a target on my chest saying, I am a nerd. Talk to me about nerd things, okay? Because I am quite a shy person. I've worked very hard at not being a shy person. I've worked very hard at being shameless and putting myself out there. But, I do have Asperger's syndrome. I had a very, very rough time at school. To the extent that kind of when I went to college and university, I was like anywhere but fucking Woking. I need to be so far away from Woking. I want it to be a long-ass commute. Which of course means I had the problem of when I left university, shit, I'm back in Woking, I have no friends here. But, I do feel awkward around people. So, you know, I always like to have some kind of thing that is just like, hey, if you want to talk to me, and this is a thing you can talk about. Like, this is why I like going to conventions. This is actually why I like doing shit like this, is you have something to talk about. Okay? So when you're sort of peacocking your nerddom, you're saying, we can talk about this. It's okay. Because I know for me that having being able to have a default topic to safely talk about is really handy. It really, like, it makes me calmer. I'm like, okay, we're nerds. I can talk to you. If all else fails, we can talk about something nerdy. So this is me nerd peacocking, and also, okay, the other kind of way that I dress is suits. I love suits. And it is utterly, unashamedly, because of Doctor Who. Partly it's Matt Smith. I mean, I do have a tweed jacket. But it's also very much inspired by the Seventh Doctor. The Seventh Doctor being Sylvester McCoy, and I actually have my Panama hat over there, and I've got 2 question mark umbrellas that down there in a special cardboard box. I very much love the Seventh Doctor, and you know, for me, as someone who has been, you know, the butt of so many jokes, who is so awkward and shy, like, the fact that there's this funny little man who's got a Scottish accent, and you know, he messes up his metaphors, and he plays with spoons, and actually he is a massive manipulator. He will, you know, destroy fleets of Daleks, and he's a chess master on 1,000 chessboards, and you know, he destroys an entire universe out of fear. You know, the idea that this odd little man who messes up his metaphors is that powerful, right? For me, that's very empowering. For me, as this person who would run away crying and just like, I've got rhinitis, my nose runs. When I cry because I'm upset, it's not a pleasant sight. It's not good. And having been in so many low places, and having been so very weak, I like to wear suits. I like to feel strong. When I'm out and about, when I'm out in town, I like to feel strong. And so I will dress up and I will wear suits. And the other thing is that, okay, because of my fat, okay, I essentially can only wear either suits so that I can have braces to hold up my trousers, or I have to wear, you know, my comfy trousers. Because, you know, a belt is painful to wear, and so if I want to keep my trousers up, I either have to go for comfort, or I have to go for the uber stylish and wear my suit trousers. And if I'm going to wear suit trousers with braces, fuck it, go the whole hog. Have your shirt, have your tie in a Windsor knot, and you know, if I could afford them, I would love waistcoats. I would love them. And you know, I have my jacket that holds everything, and it's like a Swiss Army knife, and it just holds everything. I know where everything is. I don't have to worry about finding this or finding that, because anything that I ever need is just, it's in that jacket, and I know exactly where it is at any time. And it's again, it's feeling of strength and comfort, and just like, I'm in control here, I'm happy, I'm in charge, I can do this. Which is an insane amount of thought to put into, yeah, this is what I wear. But kind of, it's either I absolutely do not care, I'm in the stuff that's comfy, or it's in the, yeah, I'm wearing this because it makes me feel it makes me feel powerful. It makes me feel like, yeah, I am the Doctor actually. And yeah, I know I may not look much, I know I may speak wrong sometimes, but actually, fuck it. The Doctor destroyed universes because he was a manipulator. I write sci-fi. That's good enough for me. And also, I do think that suits look pretty darn hot, actually. And so that was part of it. And it was also that, funny thing about suits, right? If you're fucking ugly, they cover a lot of things up, you know? Like, if you have bad hair, like, I'm quite happy with my hair now, but I used to have very, very bad hair because there was a whole thing about getting nits and long hair and stuff, and cutting my own hair and shit. So if you're wearing a suit, wear a hat, and it fits so perfectly, you know. And I used to be so worried about my arms. I used to be ashamed of them. So I would wear long shirts. I'd wear shirts with long sleeves, so that, you know, I would hide them, so that, you know, you can effectively hide everything about your body in a suit and look cool and look confident and feel confident. And at the same time, you are hiding that, this is a part of my body I'm not proud of. This is a part of my body I'm not proud of, you know, sort of thing. And part of the reason I'm not wearing the suits anymore, aside from the fact that, you know, with all the changes that have been going on, I'm not sure they fit me anymore, and I don't have the money to go out and buy a new set, is the fact that I binged watched Farscape in my final year, and, you know, that was kind of when I started to realise that I was, you know, a bisexual, and I was like, I love Crichton in Farscape. That man is hot, and he looks hot, and I want to be him. And I was like, I literally had my weights, and I was just like going like, I will be beefcake, whilst I was watching the Farscape episodes. And now, right, now, thanks to a variety of factors, I am now at a point where I feel happy wearing a t-shirt, and I actually feel pretty darn hot wearing a t-shirt. So now I feel like I can wear a t-shirt and trousers and not have to worry. I mean, I still always have my jacket when I go out, but it's not because, well, I want to cover up my arms. It's now, I'm wearing a jacket because this is where I keep my stuff. So yeah, that's kind of probably too much thought put into my clothes. And I always have slip-on shoes, partly because actually these are the only kind of shoes that seem to fit my quite weird feet. And partly just because, who needs laces anymore? Seriously, like, I have no time for laces. Slip-on shoes, they just work. They just work. And, you know, it's kind of like the Sam Vimes thing of, like, I like that I can feel the ground beneath my feet. You know, I like that I have a sense of touch with the soles of my feet. And it's not such that it's, like, painful to walk on or anything, but, you know, it's genuinely quite disconcerting to wear, like, proper walking boots and not be able to feel the ground beneath my feet. It's genuinely like, what the hell, this isn't right. So I like I like to wear these kinds of trainers, and yes, I know these are dirty and messy, but you know, these do me. These do me. So if you're looking to do a cosplay of me, which I don't know why you ever would, but if you know, I tend to be at Nine Worlds Geek Fest, and maybe I might possibly be able to make next year. After all, Lonsdale trainers like this, and you know, a nerdy t-shirt, and you know, lounge trousers for the win. And so yeah. Also, I wear glasses, so glasses, probably. Talk about those. I kind of, I obviously I can't know if I'm getting this in frame properly. Kind of, when I pick glasses, I tend to go for simple and forgettable, right? I tend to go for, you know, I liked the kind of the Morecambe and Wise, Vic Reeves and Bob Mortimer style of glasses where it's just like big, thick black rims, right? Well, I've now kind of gone for this sort of greeny gold with brown chrome sort of trim, and I kind of like it because I suppose as I've kind of written more stuff, I've started to like the colour green. It's almost one of these things that I included it as a joke, and then it sort of starts to become a brand, and I'm like, actually, yeah, I do kind of like green. And so yeah. And also, I've worn quite a few suits and stuff, and green seems to suit me. So yay, go green. So sorry about talking at such length about how I dress. Talk about your choices with body hair. How do you style your hair? Do you have facial hair? What do you choose to shave or not, or choose not to shave? Okay. So I don't shave. I'm 23, and you might be noticing pretty smooth chin. Pretty smooth chin, and oh yeah, there's a bit of fuzz there, a bit of fuzz. I want a Gandalf. I want a full flowing Gandalf, or a Hagrid. You know, a full-on kind of. Yes. This is where I keep my food in my beard. You know, I genuinely, I want a, you know, I want to be able to do a Salvador Dali kind of, you know, I want to do amazing things with facial hair, but I can't. And that's kind of because of things that I will talk about in a bit. But yeah, suffice to say, for reasons that shall be revealed later, I haven't really got as much kind of facial hair yet as I would like, and I'm working on it. You know, I'm getting things that mean that I'm starting to grow a moustache now, and that's good. I mean, it's at that shitty stage of like being almost like I've drunk a little too much wine or something, and as a result it's just stoned, or it's almost like, you know, just got a little bit of Marmite on the lip there, little bit of Marmite, or I suppose, considering I'm going to be listening to the Podquisition, maybe something a little bit worse. But there is a moustache growing there, and I feel like it feels good. It feels hopeful. It's like, yes, green shoots. Hopefully, something big will grow from it. And so yeah, hair. So yeah, I suppose this is a good place to share the hair story. Okay, so for years, right, I would basically just go along to local hairdressers with my family, and kind of I'd go in a chair. Somebody would, my mother would just say, he wants this done, just do that, and just tell them what to do, and I'd just sit in the chair, just shut up and go, and it would get cut. And for years that's just what happened, and I didn't think anything of it. And then my sister came home with nits, and I got nits, and Mum got nits, and Dad very deliberately didn't comment and never ever did anything about anything. But yeah, as a result, the family got nits, and that meant we could no longer go to the hairdressers. But obviously, my hair was still growing and it still needed to be cut. So my mum cut my hair. My mum, by the way, who has an essential tremor, which means her hands always shake. Which isn't a pleasant thing. Which is not a pleasant thing. This woman packing you with scissors and a razor, and her hands shaking the entire time. And sure enough, it's always an unpleasant experience. And then you go to school, and it became a thing. You look like you've been attacked by a lawnmower. So that became the thing. The new thing with which I was to be bullied. So, after a while, I just, I stopped saying, I just said, fuck it, I'm letting my hair grow. And every time it would reach a point where it'd just be like, I'd start, it'd reach a point where it would become awkward to clean it, and I would start to not like looking at myself in the mirror and stuff, and essentially my mum would kind of wear me down till finally she'd be like, okay, we're cutting your hair. And I'd be like, okay, sure, like sometime in the future, right now. And then it'd be, okay, sit down. Okay, right, fuck, got shitty hair again. But then, things would grow, the hair would grow, and it'd be okay. But after a while, when I was at university, I was like, fuck it, I'm done with this. I have a solution. I will cut my own hair. Well, actually, no, I tried cutting my own hair before at college, and it was so bad I had to go bald, because that was literally the only way to salvage how much I fucked it up. So, when I went to university, I cut my own hair, and it was bad, but it wasn't horrendous. And I was at university, so people expect you to have bad hair. And I kind of still like looking after my own hair and stuff, but the last time I got my hair cut, I got the hair done at a proper hairdresser's. It was deeply traumatic. Well, no, that's being facetious, but it wasn't pleasant. Because, as I say, awkward. And so kind of being ambushed by these women, being made to sit down without my glasses so I can't see, and then people going and washing my hair. I did not expect that. People just washing my hair and pulling my hair in all kinds of ways, and then cutting it and cutting it and cutting it, and me just kind of looking at myself in the mirror going like, that's not me. That thing in the mirror is not me. That thing in the mirror it looks like a lesbian. I don't like that. I don't like that thing in the mirror. Please, no. Of course, I didn't actually say that, because I had learned by this point, hey, don't be a rude little shit, especially not to people with scissors. But I did very much kind of leave as kind of politely as I could, and then say, never again. But since it's kind of happened, I've kind of settled down, I kind of like the way I look, but yes, never that short again. Never, ever, ever that short again. And never with those people again. Because I don't want my hair cut. I don't want my hair suddenly ambushed by being washed and shit. So, yeah. Yeah, that was a thing that did happen. And that is why my hair is now the way that it is. There are other things that I can talk about with regards to hair, but I think that's a bit too much, too much information, I think. So anyway, on to the next bit. Talk about cosmetics. Do you choose to wear makeup? Do you paint your nails? What types of soaps and perfumes do you use, if any? So I don't use makeups. I don't use, well, I suppose my answer to this is kind of complicated. Firstly, because, you know, when I was growing up, I was a nerd, and I was bullied by everyone. So it was almost like it was this case of like, I am the lowest of the low of the low of the low of the low. I have to have standards, you know. It's like, I've got my pride, damn it. So I was like phobic of anything girly. Which again, I'm sorry, I'm saying things that are probably insensitive. But genuinely, like, as I say, I am part of a fading empire of privilege and shittery. So I was phobic of just going, like, even just being in the wrong part of the store. You know, it's like that Father's Ted's sketch about, you know, them sort of having to escape the largest lingerie department. You know, like, I genuinely felt uncomfortable near anything that I felt wasn't manly. Which is stupid, seeing as I was kind of seeing as I was the nerd who did the, you know, the more feminine thing for men to do, of, you know, engaging in media instead of, you know, being outside and beating people up. But I genuinely, as a result, I was like, nowhere fucking near makeup, nowhere. And, you know, the idea of cleaning. God, I sound like such a fucking horrendous, sort of loser nerd, right? But I just, even the idea of like soaps and deodorant is like, no, that's girly. So absolutely no, absolutely no. And there was also kind of another complicating factor. Well, I suppose a couple of factors in that, you know, when I was small enough to fit in the bath, I was terrified of the water. And I still am, to a certain extent, because my first ever memory was of watching Jaws, and I have an amazing imagination, and at night it is scary, because sharks, just in my head, sharks, and to be honest, I can almost have, like, you know, waking, not dreams, but like a waking terror of just like, you know, being here, doing my stuff, and just have a sense, like at the edge of my, well, not even at the edge of my vision, but like behind me, that somehow there's this flood of water and the shark's just gonna rise up, and I'm looking right at my fucking reflection there, but I can still, just as I describe it, there's a hair standing on the back of my neck. It's just like, there's a shark, there's a fucking shark. Despite the fact I know it cannot possibly happen, and I'm looking right at the thing, it's a thing, right? It's just a thing of sharks are just ingrained within me. So obviously, immersing myself in water doesn't make me feel so good. And, you know, again, it's that whole thing of, you know, feeling so weak and awkward, and sort of doing that, you know, washing myself like that means this faint armour of, you know, confidence and comfortability is stripped away, and I just feel so small and weak, and hey, here's this thing that reminds you of the thing you're terrified of. So yeah, I was very, very smelly for the longest time, which means it's probably a good thing that I cannot smell, which, you know, will have affected things, genuinely. Nowadays, I do very much, I suppose I aspire to have a shower every week, but, you know, considering that I never go out, and considering that, you know, I never need to be, like, up in the morning or anything, like, and I've got a very screwed up sleeping pattern in the sense that I have none. I will just circle around the clock and stuff. So, you know, my sense of time is not always so good, so I aspire to have a shower every week. And nowadays, I do actually quite enjoy my showers, but, you know, sense of time being what it is. And kind of, when I do have a shower, I do have a set routine. Kind of my approach to showering is like, I don't do it that often, but when I do, I want to do it really well. You know, like, I don't do this often, so it needs to be a really good clean. And so, like, I will, you know, shampoo to clean things up, then conditioner to make sure that the hair is ready for the next cleaning of it. I'll usually do one sort of minty shower gel, which is kind of the general cleaning thing, and also because I like mint, because I think it might be the one thing I can actually smell or something. And so I'll do that, and then I'll do a sort of Dove moisturizer clean, so that, you know, because essentially you've had the clean and now you need to make sure that, you know, your body's hydrated and shit. And, you know, because obviously, like, ironically, water makes you dry out more. I don't know how it works, but that's my feeling on it, right? So that's kind of why I do that, and then I, you know, clean my bits in sort of things. And then I kind of go back to cleaning. Actually, no. But then I sort of clean my face with the moisturizer stuff and make sure that's good and stuff. And then I go back to the shampoo and conditioner. The shampoo, because it's like, you've had the conditioner, and that's had time to sink in. So now you can do the proper clean, and then sort of conditioner to make sure that in the week or however long it might be, that before my next shower, that, you know, my hair kind of stands a decent chance of, you know, being okay. And to be fair, it seems to work out okay. In terms of deodorant, well, basically, I stay inside my room the entire time, and I cannot smell. And, you know, there are other people in this house, but, you know, there's only one other person in this house, and I really don't care a shit what they think. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm only going to wear deodorant if I'm actually going out. And I don't go out that often. So yeah. Basically, I am shameful and stinky. I guess that's the best sort of explanation I can give of this. I am very shameful and stinky. And also, you know, I kind of have this weird thing about, like, purity. Like, I don't like the idea of, you know, tattoos or piercings or, you know, or makeup or stuff, because I'm like, no, but it's your body though. You know, your body is you. And, like, yes, I like to wear clothes. I like to dress up and feel confident in myself. But as far as I'm concerned, you know, your body is you, and kind of, you shouldn't cover that up. You shouldn't. And sorry, I'm saying you should not. But I'm speaking about myself. I'm explaining about myself. I'm not judging anybody. My point of view of me is that I shouldn't need to sort of wear makeup. I shouldn't need to cover any part of myself up. If I've got a problem with it, you know, almost just fucking show it. See it every day. Have confidence in it. Be shameless about it, and one day you'll stop giving a shit. And you know, ultimately, you shouldn't. You know, there's also an element of, like, I have an amazing imagination. I'm someone who can, you know, who gets bored and who thinks a lot, who thinks very, very fast. Like, an hour seems like 5 minutes seems like an hour to me. So, for me, you know, the idea of any kind of permanency to things doesn't make sense. And so kind of, if I'm gonna do anything, it's gonna be temporary. And also, I don't like cleaning, so kind of putting crap on my body is not going to be good, because I'm not going to be fucking asked to goddamn remove it. Like, I don't have to take well, I probably should, but you know, I don't have to have a shower to change shirts. I don't have to have a shower to, you know, wear different socks or whatever. You know, I don't have to go through this thing that I suppose is still kind of an extant, time-consuming thing for me if I'm dealing with stuff that isn't, you know, that's not applying to the skin and the body in that kind of way. Although, to be honest, right, I have, you know, I did once dye my hair ginger for Red Nose Day, and, you know, on RuneScape, my character, the Farshanuk, his hair is green, and he's got a green beard and moustache, and so I'm kind of like, I'm leaning towards green hair, and the more women I see that have got dyed hair, I'm like, green hair, green hair, green hair. So, you know, I'm not ruling it out. You know, I might live a long time, so, you know, anything is possible, but that's kind of my things. now-ish. So, have you experienced being misgendered? If so, how often? Yeah, here we are. Here we're kind of getting into the meat of the thing and why I'm doing this thing. I have been misgendered. Get misgendered quite a lot, actually. Less so now. And when I say quite a lot, what I mean is that, you know, they would always be kind of rare, notable occasions. But, you know, it wasn't like once every few years. Like, there was essentially from, like, me being 16 going to the job centre until, I suppose now, there have been an increasing number of moments where I have been misgendered. Okay, like, the first time it happened, I was genuinely quite annoyed, because as I say, like, I'm many things, but I am a man. I almost had this attitude during school of like, I don't care what you say about me, so long as it's true. And then I go to the job centre, and this old guy is, I mean, bearing in mind I had long hair back then, because this was during my, I don't want to have my hair cut by a mad woman. So I and because of problems like, basically, I recently found out that I have I have an unknown genetic mutation that means that I have drastically low levels of testosterone, and I'm just getting treatment now. But as a result of that, I developed breasts, and other things changed. That's why I couldn't grow a moustache for so long, and why I'm still, alas, without the Gandalf beard. And so for me, like, you know, I from basically the point where you'd have expected puberty to have taken place, people started referring to me as this girl. And, you know, I started being active on the internet and on YouTube. And, you know, I suppose in the real world, day to day, people wouldn't misgender me as often. Partly because when I went to university, I kind of was very clear to make myself, you know, when I went to university, I was very, very clear that to present myself in a way that, you know, nobody could get confused about, you know. I would dress in the suit. I would cut my hair short. I went by Gordon Jones, so that it's like clear male name, simple last name, easy to spell, easy to pronounce, and just be like, no, I am Gordon Jones. Hello, wearing a suit, 6 foot, short hair, and most of the time it would be okay. But then there would be people who would refer to me as a woman or whatever. And that would, whenever it happened in real life, you know, it wasn't that big a deal. Like, I would be miffed, I would be annoyed, but it wasn't that big a deal. Thing is, though, you know, I've been kind of at this YouTubing lark for kind of, you know, for nearly 10 years, right? And I was very active on YouTube during my university years. And bearing in mind, like, this was when I started to kind of make it big. As in, during my first year of university is when I do my, so it turns out I think The Phantom Menace is the best Star Wars film set of reviews. And then I started writing up I started writing up reviews of like different superhero films, and then I started doing movie reviews of them on YouTube, and then I started doing Let's Plays of Minecraft for a joke, and that's when I got the first 4chan swarm. And you can kind of start to see where this is heading. Because they're 4chan. Okay? And here I am, who's done these videos, who's kind of put the controversial views out there. They're 4chan. They look for obvious fucking weaknesses. And they called me out. They said they saw that I... This is actually kind of hard to talk about. Basically, they saw what I looked like, they saw how I sounded, and they said, is it a boy or a girl? Is it a hermaphrodite? I got graphic descriptions of what they imagined my genitalia to look like. I got people who named their who named their accounts Alex Johans and said, I'm you from the future and I'm now a woman. And sort of saying that, yes, you will be a transsexual. People saying that I will be a transsexual, that I'm a hermaphrodite. And it's one of these things of, the more you say, no, I'm not, I'm not. Guys, just to be clear, I'm a guy, I'm a fucking guy, I'm a fucking guy, I am a guy, and still, to come, and the more you say no, the more they say yes, the more you say no, yes, you got tits. So I said, right, fuck it, you fuckers, I have got fucking tits, right, yes, but guess what, it's just because I'm fat, la, and then they said no, actually dude, you've got a problem, you need to go to the doctor, and that's when shit kind of hit the fucking fan. So I think that kind of segues into my next point. But before I leave this point, I will talk about the next sort of stage of this, which is kind of, you know, so you've been misgendered, you've been misgendered in real life, you've had 4chan trolls mobbing your page, swarming your page, and provoking you into saying, right, you fuckers, you think that this is, well, then I went to Nine Wars Geek Fest, and this was after I knew I had a problem, right? So, at Nine Wars Geek Fest, they have pronoun badges, which are awesome. They are just, what is your pronoun? My pronoun is he, him. So, it just clears up confusion. Okay, so I wore this badge, and at the first con, right, I remember at the first one I wore this. This old white guy actually came up to me and was like, "So, you're trans. Do you want to talk about it?" And I'm like, first off, no, I'm just fat and people get confused. Secondly, yeah. If someone's wearing a badge, it means they're telling you what their gender is. They're not saying, hello everybody, I'm trans. You know, like, if someone is wearing a badge to clear up confusion, it's not necessarily an invite to say, hello, talk to me about how my gender isn't what is on here, you know. Like, I genuinely found that to be quite an insensitive thing, like, that this guy was doing, just in terms of, like, if I was trans, this isn't a good thing to do. Although it was kind of a bit comedic, at the time. Although I think I might have been a bit annoyed at the time too, because obviously, you know, it's like, I finally have a solution. I will wear a badge. Oh shit, someone thinks I'm trans. And then of course, like, at last year's 9/1 Geek Fest, I wear it and no one comments, and I made it. Last year was, I'm saying last year when it was like, well, okay, it was last month, but it was awesome. 9/1 Geek Fest 2015. Oh yeah, it was awesome. And I met cool people, hung out with really cool, awesome people, had my faith in Doctor Who restored. And there was a moment where, you know, I'd made friends with these good people, had, you know, really amazing talks with these people that, like, got really deep, and, you know, then it came to the moment of explaining, you know, my condition, and this guy said, yeah, I did kind of think that you were a trans person, female to male, and it's kind of this thing of, like, sort of, you know, it's stupid, right? It's stupid. You know, I shouldn't care, but I do. You know, I apart from anything else, right? You know, considering the kind of next question, I feel that it's a disservice to the trans community, to trans people, for me to say, oh yeah, because I'm not. Okay, essentially what happened with me, I mean, it's quite interesting, actually, considering that, you know, what Dodger talks about in her video is that she kind of had a moment where, due to essentially indoctrinated gender constructs that are imposed by society, she had a moment where she's like, oh, well, it turns out that you can just grow up into a different gender. Well, in a weird kind of way, that's kind of what happened to me. In that essentially, I'm a man, I have man bits, I was born with man bits, I identify as a man. It's just that at a certain point in my life, because there wasn't enough testosterone, my body started developing in the other direction, and people get confused. And so it's this weird thing of, like, no, you don't understand. I'm not a man who. I'm not a woman who became a man. I'm a man whose body started wandering off the path, and I'm only just now getting it to go back on the path. Which is very weird, but I suppose that's why I'm doing this, is the sense that I'm not trans, but I have been misgendered. And let's go on to the next question. Do you experience dysphoria? How does that affect you? Yes, I experience dysphoria. And this is why I kind of needed to explain the caveat that, you know, that I'm not trans. I'm not gonna feel it to the same degree as someone else, because I haven't grown up in a body that wasn't mine. Essentially what happened was I was perfectly fine with my body, aside from, you know, being fat and having problems to do with health. I was perfectly fine with my body, and then at a certain point it started to veer off the path. And, you know, as it started veering off the path, you know, to begin with, it was like, well, you know, I'm getting bullied, I'm awkward, I'm lanky, blah, blah, blah. And then there was this weird period where, you know, kind of it diverted and became this weird androgyny, where it was like, I can look at myself and say, that's a hot guy, and at the same time, I can look at myself and feel weirdly turned on that when I look in the mirror, I see a hot woman. And then it went further along the path. It diverted further from the path, and it crossed more. It crossed like this weird line, this weird kind of imaginary line where features changed and things changed, and now when I looked in the mirror, I did feel dysphoria. I did feel a sense that my body was wrong. I did feel a sense of like, what the fuck is happening to me? And dysphoria is interesting. In the sense that, you know, I'm a sci-fi writer, okay? I like thinking about the weird and the different, and I'm saying this whilst talking about dysphoria, and that's horrible. Sorry, as I say, male privilege, sorry. I like thinking about things that are interesting. And one of the it's one of the classic sort of sci-fi fantasy plots of like, you wake up in someone else's body, right? I read it as a kid in Gigi McHugh's The Toilet of Doom, where there's this magical website where you kind of you can essentially swap bodies and consciousnesses with whoever's in the room, sort of thing. And in fact, one of the I remember this story that horrified me at the time, which was this sort of weird story about this guy, this kid, this boy who one day wakes up and he's in a parallel universe where he's tricked like a girl, and he's expected to wear dresses and things. And you know, I as I said, I binged through Farscape, and Farscape has a brilliant story which plays up a tremendous comedy from the whole body switching phenomenon. And they do it fantastically because they get to play on the whole other aspect of, there's aliens. You know, you're not just doing, well, you know, there's a man and woman who switch, but you're also switching between you know, like aliens and things, and it's kind of cool in that regard. But you know, it's kind of a thing that is part of sci-fi and fantasy. This idea of waking up in someone else's body, and I kind of got that. You know, I didn't have to endure, you know, growing up in this body that wasn't mine and having society tell me, no, that this is yours and whatever. I didn't have any of that. What I had was, I'm a man. I fit into society as a man. Yes, I'm bullied. Yes, I've got all these things, but I'm a man. Looking in the mirror, oh, that's not me. That's not me, governor. And that was the moment when I flashed my sort of tits to YouTube and found, oh shit, there might be something wrong with me, and kind of the denial that I'm fine, everything's fine, everything is fine, and sort of it's not. And going to the doctors and being told, yeah, your testosterone level is massively low. Finding out that, oh yeah, key parts of, you know, who I am are not as they should be. And because there wasn't enough testosterone, and, you know, all these things are not as they should be. And, you know, I mean, in male culture, in male sort of video game culture, sci-fi culture, whatever, right? There is this idea that is talked about of like emasculation, or, you know, of being rendered impotent, you know, and you know, sort of talking about, you know, it's though this guy's being castrated and shit, and, you know, these are things that are thrown around kind of casually as, you know, oh well, this means you no longer have any power. This means you are effectively a woman, and this is the angst that you get from that. And so, kind of having been part of this society for so long, and kind of tripping up and smacking your head as you realise, oh shit, this is me. This is me. I am emasculated. I am impotent. I don't measure up. You know, I'm not castrated, but you know, I don't have enough. I'm not what I should be. And that's when you look in the mirror, and that woman who you see there, who at a brief point there was this weird line where actually you look in the mirror and you're androgynous and you're okay with it because you see a hot bloke and a hot chick and it's okay. Now you look in the mirror and you see the hot chick and it's just not nice. It's like a scene in a horror movie where you look in the mirror and it's somebody else's face. You look in the mirror and it's this other identity. You know, again, I binged watched Farscape, okay? Right? One of the running plots through Farscape is that John Crichton essentially has, at one point, a neural chip, basically a plot device, implanted in his brain, which means that he sees a kind of, you know, imagined hologram sort of thing of Scorpius, the big bad guy. And Scorpius, at points in the series, takes him over and does bad stuff to him. And makes him do horrible, horrible things to the people he loves. This is the thing with being sci-fi savvy and going through an experience like this. Because now you're not just feeling like, that's not me. That's not me. I don't feel right. This isn't my body. You're also kind of aware of the tropes that are kind of going on. And you're like, that woman in the mirror is not me. What the fuck is going on? And you start questioning your identity. Okay? Because the thing is, yeah, you know, I've never had to think about my gender before, right? You know, I had moments of darkness, sure, but I always were like, no, that's ridiculous. So it's suddenly this moment of like seeing this woman in the mirror, seeing this person who is not me, and wondering, you know, am I the fake? Am I the lie? Am I the illusion? Am I am I the mask to be sloughed off, you know? And it's this thing that you do wonder about when you look in the mirror. You do wonder of just like, what's happening to me? You know, how should I be reacting to this? You know, and almost when you know that you are at a crossroads like that, when you know that you are not, when you know that essentially your body has decided to go off the track of being a man, like there's this moment of going, is it right to go back on the track? Should I go to the other track? You know, what should I be doing here? You know, and it's not helped by the fact that all the while this has been happening, like, I'm a feminist, I'm interested in Doctor Who, I'm interested in all these kind of areas, and I want to see a female doctor, and my friends, my fandom are just like, no, but men be doctor. And then we get a female master, and then the part of the internet that I care about explodes with no, and it's like, this is when I'm going through all of this fucking weirdness, and it's like, oh no, this is not good. This is not good. I don't feel in a good place of just like, what? You know, it's to take the melodramatic aspect. It's, you know, who am I? What am I? You know, and kind of, yeah. That's kind of, I suppose, my experience with dysphoria is just this feeling of like, what the fuck is going on with me? This feeling that I don't belong in my own body now, and this feeling that maybe I should change and maybe I shouldn't, and it's just this utter feeling of loss and confusion and kind of fear and existential dread of just like, maybe I shouldn't, you know, be what if I am what if I'm living in denial and all of everything I am is just kind of, you know, I suppose a patched together, it'll be okay thing. And you know, you do, when you look in the mirror and you see someone who isn't you, it's scary. It's genuinely kind of at an existential level, right? It's scary, you know, because it's one of these things about the dawning of, you know, agency, the dawning of thinking about who we are, is looking in the mirror and realizing, oh right, that man in the mirror, that's me. And so the moment you look in the mirror, having all this agency, having all this understanding of who you are, and you look in the mirror, and it's not you anymore, that's scary. That is scary, and that prompts a lot of deep thought, and kind of part of the reason that I am so happy now is that when I look in the mirror, when I watch myself in the reflection here, you know, when I even just look at the different parts of my body, right, I feel good. about who I am, you know. And in fact, I feel better, you know. It's like I've gone from being an ugly guy to being a hot guy, you know. And yes, I went through this dark patch where it was very, very not good. But now I feel very good, with one exception. With one, well, I suppose two exceptions. These. Because it's, you know, this is why I still wear shirts everywhere. I have to always cover myself up. Because these, I mean, they just don't feel right. Okay? Because as I say, like, it's not that, you know, I woke up one day and realised I had been in the wrong body all the time. It's that I've always been in the right body. It's just that my body at one point got confused and decided to be something else. And so I'm used to not having these things. And so sort of like it's small things. It's the fact that, you know, there'll be moments where I'll want to kind of get something over there and my arm can't move because of a tit. And it's this, I genuinely do just like, I genuinely feel it deeply uncomfortable, and it makes me feel sick. It makes me feel sick, and I genuinely have contemplated just taking a fucking knife to them. Just because they genuinely make me feel so sick. Because they don't feel right. Because they aren't my body. They feel, they feel like a parasite. They feel like the remnants of this thing that tried to take over my body. And actually, I just want them gone now. I just want them gone. Like, every other thing about who I am is getting better now. But these don't seem to be going anywhere. And it genuinely, like, makes me uncomfortable. And I will, at times, lie awake at night just feeling shit because I have these things, which is stupid, but I do. And it's, you know, everything else in my life is getting better. Well, not everything, because, you know, there are things about life that are nothing to do with, you know, my body, but, you know, where my body is concerned, everything else is getting better. I can look in the mirror. I can look in my in the reflection from the camera, and I can feel good about myself. But I can't feel good about these, and I just want them gone. Just want them fucking gone. And I'm not sure how that's gonna work. So yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that. Anyway, on to the next thing. Oh yay! Fan. Talk about children. Are you interested in having children? Would you want to carry a child if that were an option for you? Do you want to be the primary caretaker for any children you may have? Oh boy. So, I'm kind of in this weird position in that, you know, I'm 23, I'm young, and, you know, for me, school was not such a long time ago. Okay, it's, well, I suppose it's been, you know, nearly 10 years since I was there, but, you know, fundamentally, I remember, as a kid, hating kids. And now I'm an adult, they still weird me the fuck out. They still creep me out, I'm still just like, no, no, no. But there's a complication to this. You know, in the sense that because of my fucked up genetics, it is highly likely that I am infertile. Certainly, if I ever want to have kids, I will have to go through IVF. So for me, this is a weird question. Like, obviously, like, I can't, you know, I can't give birth to children because I'm a man, I've always been a man, and I wouldn't want to anyway, because holy shit, it turns out being a baby oven is a goddamn scary and gross experience, and I am so very glad of my privilege in not having to be any fucking part of that. But, you know, even the whole thing of just being a sperm donor, like, I don't mean literally, but, you know, being able to sort of rejig up the genes for my prospective whatever, because I'm bisexual, so kind of, you know, whoever if ever I did happen to get with someone and they wanted kids, right? If they, I'm not like, you know, I'm sure I will mature, and at a certain point I will be like, oh yay kids, but, you know, at the moment I hate them, they're creepy as hell. But, you know, if at any point my sort of significant other ever wanted children and they wanted to have them with me and I was okay with that, I would have to go through IVF in order to be able to, you know, things would have to be done in order to be able to find swimmers that would work. And, you know, it's this thing of like, you know, I don't know if I ever want kids, really. Like, I know that right now I think they're creepy as fuck, but I'm sure that, you know, if they're your own kids, that you feel different about that. I mean, kind of, I know that when it comes to, like, I love cats. Okay, this is weird, but stay with me. Like, I love cats, I love caring for my little babies. But the things I have are, you know, the problems I have are the fact that, you know, they have to be castrated and spayed, which, you know, I kind of, that makes me squeamish, and the fact that they die. So one would hope that, you know, by the time that one would hope that that would not be a problem that you would necessarily have to face with kids. But that's kind of the closest I can kind of compare. But, like, it's more just, you know, I don't know if I ever want to have kids. You know, but it would be nice to have the option. You know, and it's more that I can't. Well, no, it's more that if I want to have the option, it's gonna be fucking difficult. It's gonna be a heck of a faff at goddamn best. And that's not nice. That is genuinely not nice to know that it would be a heck of a faff if I ever did want to have kids with someone. So yeah. And I suppose, yeah, being the primary caretaker for the children, well, as I say, I don't really like them. And I suppose there's part of me that's like, well, you know, my dad was horrible. My mum means well, but well, yeah, I was raised by TV. So kind of, I suppose I'm probably not the best person to take care of children. So talk about money. Is it important to you to provide for a family financially if you choose to have one? Is it important to you that you earn more than a partner you may have? Do you prefer to pay for things like dates? Are you uncomfortable when others pay for you or offer to pay for you? Now this is interesting. Okay, this is interesting. Okay. I have always liked paying for other people. You know, it's as someone who kind of lacks social skills, but was spoiled. It's a very easy way, well, or at least it feels like an easy way to just be like, well, go with me because I have money. But well, that's a horrible way to look at it. But you know, there is that to a certain extent, and there is also an extent where it's like, I like to look after people. You know, it's this weird thing of like, I feel stronger and more confident in myself when I have someone to look after. You know, it's almost, you know, it's like, on my own I've got nothing to fight for. The moment I have something to fight for, oh yeah, I got some swagger. So I like looking after people. I like making people happy. I know it probably doesn't seem it, seeing as in a lot of my videos I am saying, no, I don't care what you say, I am untouchable, I am God, do as I say, or if you don't, then I will smite thee. In a lot of my videos I kind of play up, I don't care what you say, trolls, I am God. But I like caring for people. You know, it's this thing of being brought up on sort of being brought up on Star Trek and sort of Doctor Who and all these sort of, being a hero is kind of built into who I am. I like to be, you know, I'm shameless, I'm honest, I'm moral. I like to look after people. I like to help people. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I am deserved. Like I'm useful, you know. Like, because as someone who is very self-conscious, very kind of hates myself. I really do hate myself, you know. And when I say, like, I'm God, that sounds like, oh, you're being really egotistical, aren't you? Yeah, but I'm an anti-theist. I hate God. I think he's a dick. So when I'm saying I'm God, there is a part of myself that's like, I can say this because really it's me being really, really self-loathing. So kind of, you know, because I do hate myself a good deal, I kind of, there is part of me that is like, I want, okay, I'm starting to see how things fit together, but there's part of me that's like, I want you to like me for things that are more than intangible. You know, I want to know you have a reason to stay with me because I'm useful to you. Like, the idea that, you know, someone might just be my friend because they think I'm cool or whatever, like, that's not something that I kind of trust so much. So I suppose I like to, if I can, and this is something that I'm gonna talk about in a moment. If I can, I like to be the person paying for things. If I could, I would love to shower all my friends and family with gifts and just be like, aren't I awesome? I'm giving you these things. Yes, look at it, look at it. What have I got you? What have I got you? Yes. What do you think about it? What do you think about it? You know, I mean, a lot of the stuff I write has themes of essentially relationships about one person looking after another. And I very much, I like to look after people. I like to look after people. I like to be the one providing, if I can. The problem, of course, is that I can't provide at the moment because I am living on currently $7.99 a month. So donate to my Patreon at the link below. And kind of I'm scavenging sandwiches, and stuff, and it's kind of tough. It is and I will accept offers of drinks or whatever from people because of necessity, because I'm poor. And I've never really felt awkward about it because there's kind of, an autistic part of me that's like, well, you offered, But kind of recently, with my dad kind of explicitly saying, but I did all these good things for you and you're not doing anything good for me, I sort of realised, oh, so all those times that you asked me out for a meal or a drink, right? Those times weren't just you being nice. You were expecting something in return. I didn't realise there was an, unstated deal being done. I did not realise that, this plate of chips came with a contract. And so that makes me hesitant to accept help from people. I'm suspicious when people want to help me out. And kind of the only reason I'm not so terribly suspicious about Patreon is because, the Gymquisition is using it. Because Mr. Trilby Tardis is using it. Because the great Laura K. Buzz is using it. So it's got an air of legitimacy that's like, yeah, okay, I can accept money from these people, and it's, so long as I keep doing what I'm doing, so long as I keep making the stuff they like, it's okay. I'm not gonna, I suppose the thing about Patreon is, yes, it is a contract, but it's okay. Everybody knows what they're signing. Whereas, if someone buys your pint or buys your plate of chips, you never know what they expect in return, which is not so good. I suppose on the flip side, there's also a part of me that, if I could trust someone, and of course this is the difficult thing, if I could trust someone, there is a part of me that would love to be, to be spoiled, There is a part of me that, would like to kind of almost be the house husband, sort of just like, I mean, okay, I couldn't, because as we have established, I'm not a cleany kind of person, but, there is part of me that wouldn't mind being, a kept man or whatever, if it was ever in the slightest way possible, there's part of me that if I met the right woman and I could come to trust her, or indeed the right man, I suppose, and if they wanted to be in that kind of relationship where they had the financial kind of control. I mean, obviously, I'm damn well gonna have, like, and if this goes wrong, I'm gonna have this backup, and if this goes wrong, I'm gonna have that backup. You know, I will have plans up the fucking wazoo. But, you know, if they wanted to be the provider, I'd kind of like that. You know, I mean, equally, like, I'm also just happy saying, you know what? We're people. We care about each other. We're gonna look after each other as best we can. And I suppose I should also kind of state that, you know, whilst I'm perfectly happy being, you know, in a monogamous single, you know, sort of having a one per partner, I'm also open to the idea of, you know, more and different kind of relationship situations. So I suppose for me, yeah, in those more and different kind of relationship situations, you know, it would make the most sense for everybody to just be like, yeah, we all chip in, we all do the best we can, and some of us might be able to contribute more than the others, and you know what, as long as we all try our best to keep this ship afloat, then awesome. Yeah. So anything else you want to share about your experience with gender? So the reason why I decided to do this video is because I am a man. I was born a man, I identify as a man, I've always been a man. But my body at one point got confused and decided it wasn't quite sure anymore. And now I'm getting back on track. I've got my testosterone things, and I feel good about who I am. But I have realised something, which is that, you know, and I'm not sure how much this is whatever, but supposing we had I mean, I'm a sci-fi writer, so I think about things that are kind of futuristic and stuff. So supposing that we had some kind of, supposing that they cracked it, you know, tomorrow. They cracked some kind of, like, super advanced gene therapy kind of treatment, and, you know, it's this small pill that you take, and essentially when you swallow it, you know, this specially engineered bacteria or virus or whatever sort of goes through your entire body, and it rewrites you at a genetic level so that you are now of a different biological sex, so that you go from having men parts to woman parts, and equally there's a version that will do the opposite, right? If we had that kind of technology, you know, which, you know, technically ain't that fucking impossible. Well, I suppose that it is at the moment, but, you know, in theory, right, the way viruses work is they, you know, latch onto some cells, they rewrite how the cells work and make them create more viruses, and that's how they spread. So theoretically, right, you could create some kind of localized thing that locks on to your specific, you know, DNA sort of genome, and maybe what you might have to do is, like, sit in, like, a quarantine booth and essentially, you know, the idea is that the virus has a limited lifespan or whatever, and after so long, it dies. But before that happens, it can completely go through the entirety of your body, changing every cell in your body to be from male to female, whatever. And then, as a result, after that period, virus dies out, you walk out, everything's fine, and, you know, if they could find a way for that to work and be safe, if they had the miracle sort of pill that, take this, and you will change into a woman, take this, and you'll change into a man, I would probably dabble. I would probably dabble. Which is a weird thing. Weird thing to kind of, considering that I have genuinely had dysphoria, to be able to say, yeah, if there was the ability to change your gender at kind of will to a certain extent, well, not will, but if there was a way to do it and reverse, and you don't have to, it's not this horrible thing that's, you know, whatever, but it's this relatively simple and cheap process that can, you know, be done quickly and effectively. I would probably say, fuck it. I'm gonna see what it's like to be a woman for a bit, and it wouldn't be that, you know, my essential gender has changed so much as, well, I'm not sure. Essentially, I'm very much happy. Well, I suppose, yeah, with the way that, you know, it's. God, I'm shit at explaining myself in this regard. Essentially, like, you know, there are no boxes, you know. Gender is a spectrum, and kind of, you don't have to pigeonhole yourself. Like, you can be the man, you can be 100% a man, and, you know, and you can, you know, wear dresses and whatever. Like, you don't have to, whatever. But I suppose, for me, there is a part of myself that, you know, whether it's, I suppose the way I choose to look at it is, you know, I am now so secure in my masculinity, having been through, having stared into the abyss, and then returned to the path of being who I returned to, you know, what I should be. That, you know, I've seen into the abyss. I'm not scared by the abyss anymore. And, you know, if I could dabble and say, you know what, fuck it. For this night, for this week, I will be a woman. You know, I would know inside that I'm still Alexander Gordon Johans, I am still me, and I'm still kind of a man. But for that week, I think, for that week or that day or that night or whatever, I think I would like to dabble. Which maybe isn't an appropriate thing to say in kind of a thing about gender, but it's something that I think is, you know, it's something that I've started kind of I've started realizing about myself, which is that, you know, it's this thing of, like, you know, watching Farscape, going, you know, ah, man, that guy's really awesome. Yeah, he's really awesome. And then going, oh hell, I actually like this guy, maybe I'm bi. and sort of realizing, oh yes, I am. At the same time, I've realized that essentially I've written about this certain type of woman so many times, you know, and there is a certain part of me that's like, part of the reason I keep writing about this certain kind of woman is that I want to be them, you know. And I suppose that, yeah, this is me saying that if we had the technology, I would probably experiment with that. And hell, to be honest, you know, seems like we're heading into a very, very interesting time. And you know what? I might end up living a long time, so I may well end up experimenting. And sort of having a dabble anyway. But yeah, it's just a small little side note of just like, so I was me. Well, I've always been me, but I was a man, and then I've always been a man, and then at one point I veered off the path, came back, and now I'm like, yes, I am a man, but also there is a part of me that if I could do it and dabble in it, would kind of occasionally like to be a woman, and like that's kind of okay, actually. Like I you know, that's kind of okay. That, because you know, as I was saying, that there was this moment where I did look in the mirror and I saw myself as a man, as a woman, and I was okay with it, and then I crossed and I didn't see the man anymore, and I just saw the woman, and I wasn't okay with it. You know, I suppose that's it. You know, I am a man. I am a man, and I like women, but at the same time, there is a part of me that likes to dabble at being a woman, and there is a part of me that likes to dabble at being with men. So, yeah. I suppose I am truly a dabbler of many things. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Alexander Gordon Johans, and holy shit, it is 10 PM. And yeah, so that was me doing the gender tag. Yeah. So sorry about things. So see ya. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. If you could please like, favourite, comment, subscribe. Even if you dislike the video, leave a dislike, it helps. If you can watch my videos without ad block, or whitelist them so ads will be shown, that'll be a help. If you can donate to my Patreon at patreon.com/Farshnook, that is Farshnook, just FARSHNUKE. There'll be a link below the video. If you can donate $1 or $2 every month to my Patreon, it honestly will be a tremendous help. If you can watch my videos without ad block, it will be a tremendous help. Please, honestly, genuinely, it will help me so much. It will mean that I can live and produce more videos that you guys love, and produce more writing that you love. So without further ado, then I've got a Facebook fan page, which you can find by just searching Alexander Gordon Johans. You might end up adding me as a friend by accident, but it's okay. I'll send you the link. It's fine. And yeah, I suppose there is nothing left to say except that I am fully anti-austerity. I believe that America should fucking ban its guns, and I believe that we need to legalize and tax the crap out of guns and prostitution. I've been Alex Johans. Goodbye.